The wind howled across the endless desert, carrying with it the whispers of forgotten ages. Beneath the golden dunes of the Rubba Al-Khalia, the empty quarter lay something no man had seen for thousands of years. Some said it was a myth, a story told to frighten travelers. Others claimed it was really a kingdom swallowed whole by the sands, erased from the pages of time. Dr. Ahmar Qureshi adjusted his hat against the burning sun. His expedition had been searching for months, guided only by fragments of an ancient map found in the archives of Cairo University. 3 days, he said to his assistant, Zara. If we don't find anything by then, we turn back. Zara nodded, her eyes scanning the horizon. She was younger, full of energy, but even she could feel the desert's silence pressing against her. As the sun began to set, painting the dunes in blood-red light, their guide, an old Bedouin named Yusuf, stopped his camel and raised his hand. There, he said in Arabic, his voice trembling. The wind has shifted. Ahmar frowned. What do you mean? The sands are moving, Yusuf whispered. Something stirs beneath. Before Ahmar could respond, a low rumble shook the ground. The camels cried out. The air filled with a strange vibration. A section of the dune ahead of them collapsed inward, revealing a dark opening, an ancient staircase descending into the earth. Ahmar's heart pounded. He felt the thrill of discovery, but also the weight of fear. The stories spoke of a kingdom cursed by the gods, its name erased, its people turned to dust. Still, he stepped forward. Bring the lights, he said. They descended slowly, the flicker of torches revealing walls covered in carvings, figures of kings and warriors, symbols of the sun and moon intertwined, and beneath them, inscriptions in a language older than Sumerian. Ahmar ran his fingers over the symbols. It's real, he whispered. The kingdom of Ahmar, the Crimson City. Zara took photographs, her flash illuminating the darkness. Why was it buried? She asked. No one knows, Ahmar replied, but legends say their last king defied the gods, built a temple not to worship Amma but to imprison them. The passage led them to a massive stone gate sealed by a circular mechanism. In its center, a single red gemstone pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat. Yusuf stepped back. We should not open this, he said. There are things in this world that must remain forgotten. But curiosity burned stronger than caution. Ahmar turned the mechanism. The stone groaned, sand falling from the seams as the gate slid open. A gust of cold air burst from the darkness, carrying a scent of ancient incense and decay. Inside lay a vast underground hall, pillars carved with scenes of glory and betrayal. At the far end stood a throne made of obsidian, and upon it a figure, mummified but still upright, wearing a crown of gold thorns. His hollow eyes seemed to follow them. Zara gasped. Is that a broken bar? Ahmar nodded. King Saqar, the last ruler of Ahmar. He approached cautiously, examining the throne. Around it were tablets, offerings, and golden vessels untouched by time. But behind the throne, a door carved with the image of a serpent coiled around the sun caught his attention. He traced the markings. This symbol of the devourer of light. It's the same motif found in the lost temples of Decode. Zara leaned closer. Maybe it's connected. Maybe they worshipped the same god, or the same curse, Yusuf muttered. As Ahmar deciphered the inscriptions, he began to understand the story. The people of Ahmar had discovered something beneath the earth, a source of power. They called it Sha'r al-Zulma, the Gate of Shadows. They built their city around it, drawing energy from its depths. But the more they used it, the more their skies darkened, their crops withered, and their people went mad. In desperation, King Saqar tried to seal the gate, sacrificing his own bloodline. But something went wrong. The gate consumed the city, burying it beneath the sands. Ahmar, Zara whispered, we should leave. But he couldn't stop. We've come too far, he said. The truth is here. They opened the serpent door. Beyond it lay a narrow chamber, its walls alive with faint light. In the center, a black monolith stood, humming softly. Its surface rippled like liquid, reflecting not their faces, but something else, shapes that moved in the dark, whispering in a tongue older than mankind. Zara's flashlight flickered. What is that? Ahmar approached, his eyes wide. It's not stone, it's a broken bar energy. He reached out. The moment his hand touched the surface, the light surged, the ground trembled, the torches blew out. For a heartbeat, they saw visions of cities burning, skies torn apart, shadows crawling across the dunes. Then silence. When Zara's vision cleared, Ahmar was gone. The monolith pulsed red, like a living heart. Yusuf grabbed her arm. "We must go, now." They ran through the collapsing tunnels, chased by the sound of something awakening. Sand poured from the ceilings, statues cracked, the throne room trembled. As they reached the staircase, Zara looked back one last time and saw him. Ahmar stood before the monolith, his eyes glowing crimson. The whispers spoke through him now, 1,000 voices merging into one. "The gate is open," he said. "The kingdom rises again." The desert exploded in a storm of light and sand. When Zara awoke, she was lying at the edge of the dunes. The camp was gone, the camels scattered. Only Yusuf lay beside her, unconscious but alive. The hole they had entered was gone, buried again as if it had never existed. She stumbled to her feet. The horizon shimmered. For a moment, she thought she saw towers of black and tallow rising in the distance before fading into the mirage. Months passed. Zara returned to Cairo, haunted by dreams. She replayed the footage from her camera again and again, but every image of Ahmar or the underground city had turned to static. Only one frame remained clear, the red gemstone glowing in darkness. One night, she received a letter. No sender's name, no address, only a wax seal marked with a serpent and sun. Inside, a single note written in Ahmar's handwriting: "The sands remember, the kingdom breathes." The world above moved on, but strange events began to occur. In Yemen, a sandstorm uncovered ruins with carvings identical to those in Ahmar. In Oman, villagers reported hearing music beneath the dunes. In Cairo, an excavation team vanished after uncovering a similar monolith. Zara began her research anew. She followed the patterns, tracing them across the Middle East, ancient sites all connected by a single line stretching through the desert like a scar. Every culture had a name for it: the path of shadows, the vein of the sun, the line of Saqar. She gathered a small team, unwilling to repeat the mistakes of the past, but every clue drew her closer to something vast, something waiting. Years later, beneath a crescent moon, she returned to the desert. The wind was colder now, the stars sharper. As her jeep stopped atop a dune, she felt up the same hum. Deep beneath the sand, she knelt, pressed her hand to the ground. The vibration pulsed through her, steady, alive. And faintly, from the horizon, came a sound like drums. She looked up. The dunes were shifting again, forming patterns as circles within circles, a symbol of rebirth. The radio crackled. "Zara, are you seeing this?" Her teammate's voice came through. "Yes," she said softly. "It's happening again." The sand before her collapsed, revealing a glowing fissure. Light poured out, and from within, silhouettes began to rise. Warriors in ancient armor, faces covered in gold masks, carrying banners of crimson flame. Zara's breath caught. The forgotten kingdom was no longer forgotten. The night burned with fire as the ancient city began to emerge, its spires piercing the sky, its streets glowing with the same red energy as the monolith. The wind carried chants in a language lost to man. Zara stood frozen. The figure of Ahmar appeared atop the tallest spire, his body aglow, eyes like twin suns. His voice echoed across the desert: "We are the heirs of Ahmar. The gods imprisoned us, but the sands have set us free." The earth split open, swallowing the dunes. The modern world's machines, satellites, sensors, even aircraft flickered and failed. The sands of Arabia were alive once more. Zara shouted into her radio, "Evacuate, everyone, get out." But her words were swallowed by the wind. As she ran toward the jeep, she felt the ground tremble beneath her feet. The red light surged, and the mirage became real. The kingdom of Ahmar, reborn. She climbed to a ridge and turned back. Towers of obsidian reached for the stars. Rivers of molten sand flowed through ancient streets. And at the city's heart, the monolith now floated above the throne, pulsating with power. A voice, soft yet thunderous, spoke in her mind. "You opened the gate. You are part of us now." Zara fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. "What are you?" "We are memory. We are what was buried." Her vision blurred, and when she opened her eyes, she stood in a marketplace, alive, vibrant, filled with people. The air was warm, the sky crimson. She looked around, realizing she was no longer in her own time. The city of Ahmar stood before her in its full glory. Merchants shouted, children laughed, priests sang hymns to the sun serpent. But beneath the beauty, She felt unease. The people's shadows moved independently, whispering secrets. A woman approached her, dressed in royal robes. Her face was hidden behind a golden mask. "Welcome home, Seeker," she said. "The sands chose you." Zara tried to speak, but her voice failed. The woman led her through the streets to the great temple, the same one she had seen in ruins. Inside, the monolith stood tall, black and endless. "The gate connects all times," the woman said. "Past, present, future, they are one beneath the sands." Zara touched the surface, and visions flooded her. Empires rising and falling, deserts swallowing cities, mankind repeating the same mistakes. "Why show me this?" she cried. "Because you will decide what happens next," the masked woman replied. "The world above forgets, but memory must have a keeper." Zara looked into the monolith and saw herself standing in the desert again, alone, watching the kingdom fade. And just like that, she was back. The wind roared, the dunes shifted, and the kingdom sank once more beneath the sands. Only the faint outline of a serpent remained before vanishing. She stood there as dawn broke. The desert was silent, eternal. Years later, explorers would find her journal buried in a sealed case near that very dune. Inside were sketches of the city, translations of symbols, and one final entry: "The kingdom of Ahmar still lives, not beneath the sands but within them." When the world forgets its past, the sands will rise again to remind it. And on the last page, drawn in her own trembling hand, the red serpent coiled around the sun. "The desert keeps its secrets, but sometimes, when the wind is right, travelers swear they can hear distant drums beneath the dunes calling, waiting, remembering." Because the forgotten kingdom was never truly lost. It was only sleeping beneath the sands.